Hello. Hello. How are you, Miss Roe
I am
Braddy?
well. How are you?
And I'm doing well, and I am excited to be on with you today. You are such a beautifully accomplished woman,
Well,
and
thank you.
you're welcome. You have so much to share. Your background is exciting and intriguing. And so, for all those who maybe by chance have not even heard of you or read something from you, you want to just give a couple little snippet of who you are and what you do?
Oh, sure. Well, I am the mother of two. Um, I live in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I can't even say it's retired anymore. I'm an educator of about 32 years.
Mm,
I'm a building sub right now, so I get all the perks of still hanging out with kids, but none of the tough parts. I don't have to do the
yeah.
parents, the meetings, the paperwork, or any of that. So I'm
Hmm.
doing that right now. I am a poet, a playwright, an author, an editor, and a publisher. Um, Hang out, volunteer with kids. Very connected to my community and my church. So I'm just dibbling and dabbling in a bunch of stuff. I
Such a
currently
long list.
am the editor in chief of a local magazine. Um, I've done a couple of my own theater productions. I've directed a few. Yeah, so kind of what I've been doing.
I love it. And where did this heart to impact? It seems like the youth. Where does that come from? Where does that passion come from?
Well, like I said, I have been teaching for about 32 years. I taught special ed. I also taught English and math. And for a while, I was the only educator of color in the high school that I taught in. And the kids used to come to me for everything, and I found I was just always drawn towards them. If they had a problem, I wanted to be the person to be able to help them with it. And I find that the kids they still do that. I said, I think kids and puppies like me, kids, puppies, and babies
I think we
seem to
can
be
be
drawn
very different.
towards me. Yeah, yeah, like the new mothers at church with the crying baby. I'm like, here, give her to me.
Yep, me
You can
too.
rock them to sleep.
Well,
Yeah.
I've seen you have described your writing as a way to utilize your voice. What does that mean to you personally?
Um, I'm an observer of a lot of things. I watch just enough of the news to be informed,
Hmm.
but for me, it's the ability to give voice to what's happening in a different way. Sort of say it but not say it. You know, um,
Hmm.
I remember during the pandemic in just watching, what was happening people, especially with the whole George Floyd issue. And that's when I really, really started thinking about how, as a writer, I have that opportunity to give voice. I wrote a lot of poems about what was happening,
Hmm.
and doing a lot in my community, and thinking it gives voice, you got to put your voice out there and say, this is what's happening. This is how I feel about it. If you're the only one saying it, at least you've said it.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, when did you first realize that storytelling could be a platform for you to address these social issues?
I was writing with my kids. Like I said, I've taught English for years, and um, I would get my kids. I always worked with the kids who were struggling, and a lot of them would come in, and they had home lives that were just
Hmm.
tremendous. And I
Hmm.
told them, I said, I would give them a journal that we would be using for English, but I would also give them a journal and I would tell them, this is your journal. You don't ever have to show me this journal. I will never read it, even when you're not here. I said, but
Wow.
writing is very cathartic. Um, if you come in and you're angry, something has happened at home, grab your journal and write it down.
Wow.
And when you write it down, you're going to emotionally be able to put it in a place where you can deal with it. And a lot of my kids, like years later had came back to me and said, I still journal today. I journal all the time. And that's when I first discovered that it was cathartic, not just for my students, but also for me as a storyteller. Teller. Um,
Mhm.
so I really started writing, and the first book I wrote was about my kids. I wrote a book called A Seat on the Playground,
Oh,
and it was about my early career as a special education teacher. And then I just kept going on from there.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful because I think, yeah, you started, I feel like, with a demographic within the school that can be overlooked. And you gave them
Mhm.
tools at that time to even deal with it because that's a tool of journaling is across different, situations where people need to work through some things. So you even giving them that at
Mhm.
that age was awesome. So I know your newest collection of short stories is inspired you to take a format rather than a novel. So why do you prefer the shorter things opposed to the novels?
Oh, well, we are in a microwave society. Everybody wants it quick, fast, and a hurry. And I've been writing these short stories for a while. I've had a lot of my short stories published in online journals. But this particular one, I was out on the playground one day, and I don't want to tell you too much because I don't I want people to read the story.
Okay,
But
yes.
I was out on the playground with the kids one day, and I was watching how, they were interacting with each other. And all of a sudden the story started just evolving in my head about, if we don't connect with our children, if we don't get them to see that life does not exist only behind a computer screen and we need to talk to each other as humans, where could we eventually go years from now
Mm-hmm.
with children? So
Mm-hmm.
that story evolved just by watching the kids on the playground. I spend a lot of time watching people. So a lot of my
Mm-hmm.
short stories have to do with just what I see out in my community, what I see, like um a great example of that. And I have tons of notes on this. I We have a little cafe that's across the street from our apartment complex.
Mm-hmm.
And the owners have a daughter who has an intellectual disability. And when I found that out, that little cafe, it like really grabbed me. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time to go there, but my husband hangs out there all the time. And he told me the story about, how they started the cafe.
Mm-hmm.
And I went there. They have a little outside place where you sit. And I was sitting there writing something. And all of a sudden, this adorable little couple came and they were on a first date. I mean, that's not unusual in itself.
Right.
Um, but I'm sitting there and I'm an eavesdropper. Don't tell anybody that. But I'm
So once you're
sitting
in the
there.
eavesdropper.
Yes, you end up being in a story. But I'm sitting there and I'm listening. At first I wasn't paying any attention. And then all of a sudden, something just in their mannerisms of speaking, I realized that they were two people living with autism.
Mm.
Um, and just the conversation they were having, at the very end of it, I realized that they had just met each other. It was the first date for them. And it was sort of just this innocent interaction.
Mhm.
So I started taking notes on what was it's going to be a short story. It's going to be a short
Mhm.
story. But those types of things, what's happening in our community. I mean, that was sweet. That was something so positive, but sometimes things that happen in our community are not so sweet and so positive. And I
Mhm.
can give voice to both of those things.
That's
So
awesome.
I like to write in these genres
Yes,
because I believe it does. It gives voice to deeper things.
it does. It's because we're all
Yeah.
living, it's funny, we're all living our individual lives together. at the same time, and like you said, somebody's on the first date, somebody's rushing to work, maybe somebody's rushing to an emergency. There's all these things going on at the same time simultaneously. And that's beautiful, though. That's beautiful that you are able to capture that and make note of it, because we miss those little things that are blessings in and of itself. You mentioned about your short stories dealing with social issues. And I know you've addressed like body shaming at the cost of freedom. So how do you approach a writing on such touchy, heavy, emotional topics?
It's because I've always been surrounded by them. I'll share a really short story about why I decided to do this story on body shaming. I was subbing for an English teacher during midterms, and she had left me directions for how the kids were supposed to turn in their midterm study guides. She put a box, and she put a like a slit in the box and sat it on a chair in the front of the room. And she told me, she said, kids all day long will be dropping off their study guides. And I said, okay. So I'm sitting there. Her desk is in the front of the room, and a young lady comes up to the door, and she's hesitant. And I figured because she had a study guide in her hand, I thought she was just going to drop the study guide in and keep going. I thought nothing of it. But there were two girls that were sitting right in the front row because they could look directly into the door. And she kind of peeked in, and she was very hesitant to come up and drop her study guide off. And then all of a sudden it dawned on me why she was hesitant. She was severely obese, overweight, and these kids had been teasing her about it.
Mm-hmm.
And once I realized her hesitancy, I got up, took the study guide, and dropped it in the box for her. And these girls started to giggle. And I said, don't you dare. And I kept them, and I talked to them about how words do hurt. You know, how when we were little, we had sticks and stones,
Yeah.
they break your bones, but words don't hurt you. And I was like, that's not true. That is not true. You know, your words do hurt, you know. And I said, you've hurt her deeply, you know, and you really need to think about what you are doing, you know. And I don't know if this teasing went on, but I wanted to be able to share with these two girls about what they were doing and how they were making this other young lady felt. And then immediately after that, I started thinking about how girls are so drawn towards fitting in,
Yeah.
looking like this, you know, what they see on social media. And social media has its good and its bad. But teen girls are very, very sensitive to what they're seeing, emulating somebody who they think is perfect,
Yeah.
and they're not. So that's how that story evolved.
Awesome. I think we'll pause here.
Okay.
Up on a Sunday, feeling some way about what I did last Monday, and I'm wondering, does the content I'ma pass whole weight, cause I really don't know. Think about the actions that are captioned in the back of my mind, and I keep asking, Lord, let it cut past me with a passion. Feels like the whole world looking at me laughing. When I look at your life, what you think I see? Big house, nice car with a 3-piece, suit on with a button down Gucci, and you know we so clean with the cufflinks. Fast forward, you a boss on the job, drive away up north, making things look good for the white collar boys. What they don't know is that you did time way before, facing 25 years locked down, closed doors. What you making out of situation? Give your life to the Lord, new occupation, moved on, never got complacent. But there's another young man, jail time facing, and he thinks that he can't make it. But you can help him out with a little conversation. Tell him calm down, be patient, cause you know you got a story with the same pages, yeah. Cause sometimes I just wanna wake up and know somebody cares about me. If I'm struggling, help me out then. If you wanna see me win, don't doubt me, cause I know that I can't be alone. Somebody else felt like this before. One time for the day, one fold. That'll hit it, let you know that it straight up got you, bro.
The only one. helping hand, patiently awaiting to succeed. We prayed on bended knee, and then he looked at me. He said, God is good, we will surely see.
Compound everything that was said, I touched down. I'm making a choice to raise my voice and make a little noise for everybody that's been let down. Truly, I can tell you what the problem is. We living in a world full of counterfeits. Just let your light shine where the dark begins and let it shine real bright, cause it's time to win. Let's go.
I have felt the deepest cuts, and I didn't know they could hurt so much, but they shaped the man that I've turned out to be. And I've been lost, but I've been loved, and so I set my eyes on God above. The other things don't seem to matter when you're I know that I am not the only one. I know that I am not the only one.
Hi, I'm Pat Nash, and I want to speak to you a little bit about dreams, about hope, about maybe giving up or wondering why you haven't moved forward. Someone asked me, how did you get here to be a relationship coach? It actually came out of a need for myself and what I observed looking around after I asked myself a couple of questions. Why was I not doing the things that I wanted to do? Why had I gone through divorce? I realized I was not the only one. You see, there's a lot of us who stopped hoping, who stopped dreaming, who stopped chasing our dreams or going after our dreams because we don't have to chase anything. When we look internally and figure out what it is that's holding us back, the sky's the limit, and you don't have to chase anything. You attract it.
Hey, this is Kimberly Howell with Angel Rings Music Presents. Keep it locked right here as we level up, giving a voice to the unvoiced with real talk that takes you higher. Ordinary people with extraordinary stories.
This is Kimberly Walker. Listen and watch Level Up each and every Sunday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Keep it locked right here.
Hey, this is Deidre Goodlow, author of Seeds for the Soul. Level Up, a new talk show broadcasting to the world. Ordinary people with extraordinary stories.
Hey, this is Roe Braddy of Roe Writes for You. Level Up, a new talk show broadcasting to the world. Ordinary people with extraordinary stories.
Hey, there you are. And we're back. So let's pick back up. Let me ask you, is there a particular story or character in your new collection that is your favorite, or that you feel like best puts out the message you were trying to at that time?
Oh gosh, I like them all. These are people that live in my head.
There are your friends.
Yeah, they are. It's like, once you start writing, you do literally. You create these people, and there are always people that you, like I said, I observe everything when I
Mhm.
start to write something. So I don't know. That's a hard question.
Mm.
I don't really think I have a favorite. I just think they're
Ooh.
bits and pieces of real people. So I don't know
Oh,
if
okay.
there is
All
a
right. All
favorite.
right. So,
Yeah.
well, let's say, what do you hope readers feel, learn, or even question after reading any of your short stories?
Okay, well, that I have a really good answer. It was
Okay.
one of the reasons why why I wanted to do podcasts, because when you read these, you might not necessarily get the social issues I was talking about unless you hear me talking around the social issues. So
Okay.
basically, I wrote the stories in the genre of thriller.
Mm-hmm.
I had to grab the interest of the reader.
Mm-hmm.
I am hoping to be able to have dialogue after people read these books and to talk
Mm-hmm.
about the reason why I wrote the stories, because they are unlike any of the stories I have written before. Yes,
Ooh.
I'm thankful to be able to be on your podcast, because maybe now
Mhm.
that people know about these stories, they'll read them with a different perspective.
Yeah, yeah. And what about, do you have a challenge for your readers to take charge in some type of way after reading your short stories?
Oh, well, sort of a call to action.
Yes.
Um, After they read these short stories, I'm hoping that they will realize that um, there's there's purpose behind my madness of writing them,
Mm-hmm.
but to look at things in a different way. And that's what I did by writing them in the genre of thriller. I looked at things in a different way. Like I said, there's a story in there about body shaming. There's a
Mm-hmm.
story in there about what will we do for the cost of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
There's a story in there about how we as men and women often take each other out. We literally take each other out, gender
Mm-hmm.
roles,
Mm-hmm.
about role expectations,
Mm-hmm.
how we assume that, okay, I'm giving you this, you owe me this,
Mm-hmm.
so
Transactional.
exactly. And I'm hoping that they'll look at these stories after they've seen this podcast, and they'll
Mm-hmm.
pick up this book and they'll realize, like, some of the things that I'm saying is they'll be able to pinpoint the story. Like, oh, she talked about that. She talked about the body shaming. Here's that story that relates to body shaming. Oh, she talked about what will people do for the cost of freedom. She talked
Mm-hmm.
about that. There's the story, so that they will relate to it in a different way and just not see it as short book of thrillers,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
but to understand why I wrote them.
yeah, I mean, your stories are a big wake up, and the biggest thing is that you call us to look outside of ourselves, and to look at who else is around you and what's going on in the world besides just I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to accomplish that. But
Mhm.
others, like, people are going through other things that we're not, or we've been through, or we wouldn't even have realized when we were getting that coffee at the coffee shop. But if we stop and, like, maybe do a little Braddy investigation and listen, right? And really look. I think that's what I'm getting mostly from your work is that you're so observant and in tune with your surroundings and where we are at this day and age. And we miss that. I totally, I'm sitting here and I'm like, girl, I'm all about, I got to get this done by this time so I can get back home and I got to do that. And then I miss all the lives that I passed during that time. And then here I think, and now I picture you sitting in a corner, maybe jotting me down.
I'm one of those people like my husband will say, like I'll say I'm going to the grocery store. And it'll be like 3 hours later. Like what I meet people in the grocery store, like, where did I go? I was at the oh, what was it? The pharmacy, the
Mhm,
giant pharmacy here. And there was an older gentleman who was looking at something, on the little turntable besides the,
mhm,
the pharmacy. He was
mhm.
he was looking at something. He went to spin it. It just kept spinning and he was trying to stop it. And I was coming along the other side and I grabbed hold of it and I stopped it and I said, "Do you see what you're looking for?" We stood there for about 15 minutes and started talking about vitamin supplements. And it was like connecting with another human being, on like and it just like that's the stuff that fascinates me. Complete stranger, had no idea who this man was, but we stood
Yeah,
there for about 15 minutes talking about the benefits of vitamin supplements. All because he couldn't get the little spinny thing
right.
to stop spinning. And it's like people don't take enough time to do that. And I'm just one of those people who like will talk to a stranger. And I think my children have inherited that to some sense. I was in Nordstrom's closet with my daughter a few years ago, and I'm on one side of the store and she's on the other side of the store. And I said, "Where did she go?" So I go on
Mhm.
the other side of the store and there she is talking to two complete strangers and she's holding up a dress and she says, "I don't really think that's you." And I'm like, "Do you know them?" And she says, "No." And then I look at the dress and I said, "I think she's right. It just the color is just not doing anything for you." And I realized it's like, and we did not know either one of these women. We were just shopping. But we stood there and talked to them for about 15 minutes. It's
That's
like
awesome.
teaching people to connect with
Yes,
people,
that's
you know,
it.
and I'm a big people person, I'm an extrovert. I will talk to anybody at any time. And that's where these stories come from. And that's really what I want my kids to inherit is stay in touch with people, you know.
Yeah.
And the world is such a scary place where, y- you feel like, okay, I can't talk to this person because I don't know, or as feel as safe in the world as we used to feel safe. But
Mhm,
then I think that's where the presence of God has everything to do with it, as
mhm.
far as just meeting people and having conversations with people. That's where a lot of my stories come from. And it doesn't make
Yeah,
me feel like it's an unsafe place to do that. I think humans still just need to have human contact with each other.
that's true, and we totally are missing that these days. I love all the posts that show, like, the yards full of bicycles and say, we don't see that anymore because all the kids are in the house instead of, outside riding all their bikes and having that human connection, like taking the time to talk to a stranger. Because a lot of times people go, my kids would do, like, did you know them? I go, no. Well, why were you talking to them? Well, I mean, it just happened. We were out. It was organic, like you said. But it's funny that people think you have to know somebody already to strike up a conversation with them when you're out and about.
Hmm.
So I love that you shared that.
Yeah, I'm calling a trip to the grocery store for me could be several hours.
That's so funny. So, what does your writing process look like when you sit down? Do you all automatically like have a subject matter in mind? Does it just come? How does that come about?
It depends on what I am writing. Poetry for me is sort of a thing that I sit and watch. Like I said, when I wrote a lot of poetry during COVID. just watching the news. Like I've
Mhm.
got in my book Coco, June, and Melanin, I've got a lot of poetry about what was happening around, with the murder of George Floyd, and it stemmed off a whole bunch of other things for me. Um, I write historical romance too. Um,
Mm.
that's a love of history. Like right now, I'm 12 chapters into a book that takes place in the 1900s,
Wow.
simply because I am a history buff. When
Beautiful.
I was teaching like I said, I was the only teacher of color, and my kids would come to me for help in all subjects, and they would come to me and ask me to help them with history. And one of the biggest questions is like, why, as a minority, are we not in a history book? So I'd start telling them about like, okay, this is where we fit in. This is what we were doing at that particular time. So for me, it depends on the genre. It depends on whether it's something I need to do a lot of research. And I am a plotter. There's the
Okay.
pantser and then there's the plotter. I
Okay.
am definitely a plotter. I do a character Bible. I do a full outline, and sometimes the story changes, but I pretty much know where that story is going to go.
Wow, but that's so detailed. A character Bible, like you do so much in that. But you know what? That's when you give people things of substance. And I know that that's where when they get finished, you do cause them to think and hopefully, change perspective and take a different approach to things because that's a lot that goes into. And I think someone who has that gifting like you, I do not. So I wouldn't even think of it taking that much of a process. But I can tell that you pour yourself into your writing. And so that's awesome.
Mm.
So who influences you?
I love the African American Renaissance writers. I was back into college. I always said I was an old black hippie. I love, like, I think I've read everything James Baldwin ever wrote, Toni
Wow.
Morrison,
Mm-hmm.
um, Maya Angelou, those classics, and
Mm-hmm.
I have them all on my bookshelves. And it's funny because there is a bookstore here, the Midtown Scholar. Every year they have a tent sale. They take all of their books, their older books, and they put them in a tent, and it's sort of the art district of where we're at in this little part of Harrisburg.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I would go there, and if I found a Toni Morrison book, even if I already had it, like I probably have at least 5 copies of Shula. I just buy them. It's like, oh, it's Toni. And so then if I'm with a girlfriend, she's like, you already have 4 copies of that. I was like, but you can never have too much Toni.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, yeah. Well, you may have to start gifting them, right? It's
Well,
Christmas
yeah,
present.
I have done that. And it's funny because there's a event venue, Julia Mowry. If you're out there, Julia, I'm talking about you. She's the proprietor of a event menu called 1006 North 3rd Street. And it's the greatest little place. And she is
Mm.
a book lover like I am. And she will host, like she's hosted a birthday party for James Baldwin, Toni Morrison. She does a lot of like music greats too. And we get together and we just have these philosophical debates and conversations about books and history. It's just such a great place.
Mhm.
And it's a place that inspires me because I know there's other people out there that love to read as much as I do.
Mhm.
So that's all part of the reading process, like one of the stories in the my new release, I was really inspired by Toni Morrison's Beloved. And if you get the book and you read it, you'll know which story I'm talking about and how that
Mhm.
story Beloved inspired me.
Wow, that's beautiful. And I kind of imagine that for a creative person like you and being in that environment, I bet your brain was just firing on all cylinders, just being able and my daughter's a creative, well, in music. And so um Yeah, but it spills over to other areas of her life, and I see what you're saying as far as being an observer. I'm not in that
Mhm.
place, but it is beautiful, and I think that our society always needs those observers who have their hand on the pulse of things and brings it back, because we can get so us me, and you got to shake us. We need those people, those road. Open your eyes, look around. It's so beautiful that you can do that. Um, so you've spoken about writing about our community, and how has your audience responded to your themes so far? Like which ones have you feel like you've gotten the most feedback from of your writings?
I I know that my audience are my target audience are women my age,
Mhm,
um, especially for my historical romance because those books are written during the Jim Crow periods,
mhm,
and we were young kids when that was happening, and our parents were part of the Great Migration,
mhm,
and my parents were storytellers. Like our dinner table was a place of stories.
mhm,
And for me, having the opportunity to talk to other women my own age and go back and relate those stories to them, is
mhm,
the place where I see a great sharing. Every year I do a book group with the senior citizens at one of our senior citizen centers.
mhm,
And I did one for Scarred, which is the first book in the series.
mhm,
And a lot of those women were saying the same thing I was saying. Like they were little kids and their parents were part of the great, southern migration, and they
mhm,
can remember parents telling them stories about what it was like to grow up in the South. And even if they were no longer in the South, they got an essence of that. And I always say I'm a northern girl but with a southern background because I spent so much time as a child going back down south with my
mhm,
parents because they were both from the South. So that was always, I can remember sitting on my father's aunt's back porch and her telling some great story about something that happened 20 years ago.
mhm.
So those stories were just sort of ingrained in my spirit by my parents. And that's what I'm hoping to do for my own children is share with them the stories that were told to me and for them to carry them on.
Mhm. So, what role do authors play in shaping social awareness and empathy today, do you think?
Oh, it's just leaving your voice. It's putting your voice out into the world and saying, this is what I feel. This is what I feel happens. This is what I feel people are experiencing. And being able to tell a story in a different way.
Mhm.
I did a series of plays. The first play that I did was called A Warm Heart of Steel.
Mm,
And it was about it all took place in the Hill District of Pittsburgh, and it was all about this community where people were struggling with different issues. There was a barmaid at the time because it took place, the time of it was like the late 50s, early 60s, and she was a barmaid, and she was struggling with what had happened to her in the past.
mm,
Um, there was a young man who felt like, the world had done him wrong. So he's out to, take no hostages
mm,
and he's going to get what he's going to get, you
mhm.
know.
Right.
Um, then I did another play where it was a woman who lived in the neighborhood and she was sort of the matriarch of her neighborhood, and she was watching all these things happen to different women in the neighborhood, but she was holding on to her own hurt, that she
Mm,
could not use her own hurt for a platform for someone else's healing.
mm,
And it's about her, how she finally learned to let go and to realize I need to share with what I'm going through so I can help these other women heal. So I always like to, like I write these stories in a place where I think they're creative, but I always want to write a story where if you talk to me, I'm going to tell you the message that's behind the story because you might not
Mm,
get that at first.
yeah. Okay. So you do poems, short stories, stories. You do theater. What is your favorite outlet? Do you have a favorite?
Oh, I do. I love theater. I absolutely love
Oh,
theater.
okay. All
Yeah,
right.
that would be my favorite because you get to see how a person takes what you've written on a piece of paper and truly bring it to life. I had the honor of producing my own 3 theater productions, but 2 years ago, I've got an opportunity to direct someone else's piece. And I mean, it was an amazing piece. It was not a piece that I wrote, but the thing about it was her sharing her writing with me and me being able to direct the actors and saying, take it to this level. Don't be afraid to pull it out on the edge. And then to see
Mhm,
because it's not one dimension, it's this
mhm,
full, like, whole body thing happening to a
mm,
piece of writing.
I love that. Okay, we have a question of how do you feel like writing affects or shapes the trends of today, the trends and styles of today?
Oh, as far as what type of trend?
Um, it says, do you believe writers play a big role in shaping trends and styles?
Yeah, I do, like, from everything, I mean, we could be talking about, trends of clothing, we could be
Right.
talking about, just, simple books that people are reading, like,
Mhm.
I I know the place that social media plays for a writer.
Yeah.
I go on social media and I'm a bookster, so I'm always connecting with other people who are writing, and I
Mhm.
look at the trends of what people are reading.
Mm.
Or I visit bookstores. I can sit in a bookstore all day. Like I
Mhm.
live around the corner from a Barnes and Nobles.
Mhm.
And I remember I took my son with me and I was making videos for my IG page. And I'm looking at the titles and I've got all these pictures of book covers on my phone because I plan on reading all these books. But
Mhm.
the trend of books that I really, really enjoy reading has to do with my own history. I love to read about my own history, and I'm finding that there are younger people reading about our history now.
And that's
Yeah,
good.
and
That's
there are more authors writing about our history.
yes. Yeah. Does what's popular, because you did mention like noticing what the young people are following or are interested in on social media. Does any of that impact or change or alter what you're writing at times?
I don't know. My writing is my kind of like what's in my own head, but
Mhm.
I've been spending my days with elementary school kids. And they have this big thing now. It's 6'7", 6'7". They say this all the time, 6'7".
Hmm.
I was doing a math lesson and the number turned out to be, and I said, it's either 6 or 7. And the whole class said, 6'7", 6'7". So I stopped them. I was like, I need to know what the 6'7" is. And then if there's anybody out there who like knows
I
what the 6'7"
don't.
is. Well, I mean, they started telling me it had to do with the song, but then one of the teachers showed me this video where a father was showing his son, parts of the Bible, like he was looking at Genesis. Now, I don't know if that's the thing that they're talking about,
Mhm.
but she said, "No, no, no, you'll like this," and she showed it to me. And I said,
Okay.
"Oh," but I kept wondering, was that the same thing that the kids were talking about? So
But
it
I
still
see.
left me with a little bit of confusion because she was showing me one thing, but I don't really think that the kids were talking about, the 7 days of creation.
Right.
I don't think it was that. So I wasn't quite sure, but they
Probably not.
say it all the time. And then I
Huh.
realized I was on IG, and I'm gonna talk about the kids here in Harrisburg. But I was watching something on IG, and these kids were not from Harrisburg, and they're going 6, 7. So I pay attention to like trends that are on Facebook. Oh, somebody says they claim it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
I don't know. This is like people.
I was going to ask my
kids
kids at the break. So it looks
Yeah,
like we
they're
need to
saying
take a
6,
break.
7.
Yeah. So we'll pause for the 6, 7 and find out what that means.
Okay.
Yeah.
For all my people at the barbecues, backyard parties, it's your boy Tony D on the radio. You know what time it is. Let's go.
It's a party tonight. Vibing with my people, bring the party to life. Hands up in the sky, we start the party off right. We in the place, early birds, we ain't tardy tonight. Nah. In a trance as the beat in our eardrums. Got the moves in my feet, bro, and then some. Gonna lose plenty sleep, only live once. Up all night, man, we lit, fam, no kids stunts. Karaoke session going live. On the mic, spitting favorite vibes. Reminisce about them older times. Bringing back them old school written rhymes. Celebration lit, and you know it's real. Got the neighbors joining us, addicted to the party thrill. Jumping off the roof in the atmosphere, we hardly chill. Yeah, we going hard in the place like an army drill. In the ranch with the dogs pouring. Cause a party ain't official with no George Foreman. Everybody on the dance floor feeling good. Cause we living for the moment, we ain't living hood. Soul Train line getting in a groove here. It's a bash for the old and the new years. Even kids got the moves to the tunes. Cheers. Here's a toast to the good life and no fears. What a glorious sign to be in the very presence of my peers in their prime. Elders to adolescents with no tears in their mind. We looking up, all the other worries behind. Thought I told you, it's a party tonight. So I chose to bring the party to light. Driving back to the crib, no Bacardi and Sprite. Cause we drunk off the spirit of the laughter and hype. Yeah.
They said it was wrong to promote me, that I wasn't ready, that I would fail.
Those who have betrayed me must pay.
You're the first black agent. Don't be the last.
Revenge is all I have left.
The CIA cannot get involved, so you're on your own.
Aren't we all?
I'm a man who gets what he wants.
Just get me the money. You have 24 hours.
Hello, business owners. This is your fit photographer, Andre Gerard, coming at you with my 2025 campaign. The goal is to promote and empower her enterprise. Yes, the goal is to elevate women of color in business. On March the 1st, we are set to launch this new campaign, and it doesn't matter what your business is. Please contact us at www.andregerardphotography.com AndreGerard.com to book your consultation. Let's make this an amazing year. Follow me on all social media at Andre Gerard, your fit photographer.
Soy Udanis y te invito a escuchar cada domingo de 3 a 6 de la tarde Level Up, sube el nivel, gente corriente con historias extraordinarias. No te lo pierdas.
Hi, this is Terry Cummings, 18-year veteran of the NBA. Keep it locked right here as we level up, giving a voice to the unvoiced with real talk that takes you higher. Ordinary people with extraordinary stories.
Hey y'all, this is Candace Stevens, state of Georgia real estate broker and founder of Day After Foundation Incorporated, where we are transforming the transplant experience. You are vibing with my people, Angee from the B and Mr. Scribe. So level up each and every Sunday from 3 to 5 p.m. Ordinary people with extraordinary stories.
Hey, we are back. Okay, so that 6-7 apparently is a kid's thing that really doesn't mean much of anything, is what I found.
They all say it all the time.
I know, and I text my kids. I was like, "What is that?" My son was like, "Mom, it's nothing. It's kids." I was like, "Okay."
It's just like they said. That's like 20 years ago. I had a student in my class. He said gravy for everything. Like if he took a test and he did well, and pass him back the paper, he said, "Gravy, this is gravy, Miss B, this is gravy." So then he would take a test and not do so well. I give it back the paper and he'd say, "This is gravy, Miss B." I was like, how can the same word mean? But then I look back as like we used to say cool. I still say that. It's cool. Cool beans.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I still say cool, and then people are like, "Okay, so you're from up north or something?" Like,
Yeah, I just say, "Oh, cool beans."
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so you do awesome things in the summer with kids, right?
I'm always doing something with kids.
Because, like you said, you could have retired, or kind of ish, but not really, because you have this whole other lifestyle of pouring into your community and the kids. And so you do this summer theater, correct, with kids?
Yeah, I was doing a theater camp with kids for a while. Last summer, there's a guy here who does a lot of stuff with kids, and now I like volunteering for other people's programs. It's great to be able to. I really believe in volunteerism. Being
Yes.
able to volunteer. He does a writing camp with kids. So Floyd Stokes, if you're out there, I'm talking about you. He does a great writing camp, and I volunteered for that last year. I also read to kids in the summertime. Just finding things that that I can do to so back into the youth.
Is
Yeah.
there are there other demographics or areas that you want to roll over your gifts and talents you're writing to besides just
I really just enjoy doing things in my community.
okay.
I'm also the editor-in-chief of a local magazine, the Black Wall
Mhm.
Street, PA.
Mhm.
Now the founder of the magazine started it during COVID. She wanted it to be a resource for the African American community. And she has just it's been an amazing thing. Now I've been working with this magazine for a while now, but it has really given me the opportunity just to go meet people in the community. It doesn't have to be kids.
Mhm.
I have met people who have had children living with autism and have decided to start their own
Yeah.
nonprofits.
Mhm.
I have met people who decided that they wanted to bring their culture to Harrisburg and started like restaurants that had to do with particular cultures. Like there's a Caribbean Black-owned restaurant. So
Mhm.
I've just had an opportunity to go and talk to the people in the community, especially being able to give showcases for Black-owned businesses here.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. I love that showcase. I love that idea. I love the working with kids because they need to know how to express themselves other ways besides, rage rooms and whatever they show on social media. But to show them to put pen to paper or even in your theater to act it out in that way, I can just see how it can help them to grow in the community. I love that. Grace said Black Wall Street Journal. That's powerful. What other are there any topics that you have not touched on that you're looking forward to addressing?
I've started another collection of stories. Um, and it's funny because I was again on the playground, and it just always seems that that's where my focus is, and
Mm-hmm.
it's children with mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much disability, not so much, but mental health. And I think oftentimes we think, I've heard people say, "You're young. What do you got to be depressed about?" That is so not true. There
Yeah.
are children who are severely depressed.
Yes. That's the fact.
And again, I kind of like gravitate back to kids, but I've spent most of my time, teaching kids. So I guess that is where my heart goes. But, being back in the school system, I see kids who are, I'm not a therapist,
Right.
but they're dealing with so many heavy topics. And,
Yes.
like, okay, like I'm seeing my mother get slapped upside the head
Mm-hmm.
and up against the wall. And
Mm-hmm.
meanwhile, you want me to tell you what sound A makes.
Yeah.
You
Seriously.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, those types of things where I have spent, most of my career working with kids who, first of all, were curriculum deficient, and most of all, were coming from homes that were not stable, and they were bringing all that. I don't even like the term baggage, but they were bringing all those concerns that they had into the classroom. And
Mm.
it's even more so a concern now. And it was funny because um, a few women met with our pastor's wife, and she asked us, she says, "Well, what are you all concerned about? What are the things that bother you? What are the things that you lay awake at night and think about?" And that's what first thing that brought to my mind is how heavy some of the kids are, and some of the heavy topics that they're
Yeah.
facing. And
It's
these are just babies.
Yeah, I mean, today you think about, I mean, I was a young adult before I had my first computer, but they have phones now, they have tablets, they're
Mhm.
inundated with just videos and content that's not necessarily age appropriate, not even that, but also life. And so they're
Mhm.
giving all this stuff, right? That it's like, okay, how am I supposed to compute this? How do I make sense of this? How do I even share or respond? So I agree with you. It is a lot.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
definitely what you're doing gives kids a way to express an outlet. You're teaching them the journal, to write, to act, like to put things together. Even your poetry for those young boys, that can be a form of rap. Right. So you
Mhm.
get them to get it down. Okay, now rap this, I
Yeah.
love that. You need to be like an after school program at every school, girl.
Well, and it's funny because, like when you get a little kid who says, "Can I have a hug?" I get so many kids to come, like walking down the hall, "Miss B, can I have a hug? Come here."
Uh-huh.
Like if and that to me, that's just such a need. Like somebody's asking you for a hug. There's
Yeah.
some need there. There's some
Yeah.
need for just human contact.
Human contact. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Mhm.
lovely. I love it. So what do you do full time right now is your day to day? Like what does your day to day look like?
Oh, it's a variety. It's a variety of different things. Like I said, I'm the building sub for one of the elementary schools here, so I do work there every day. So and a day there could be anything. I'll come in the morning, and I might start off first grade, and by the end of the day I might end up fifth grade. So, and that's the
Wow.
thing I like about being retired and still being able to go back into the classroom is it
Mhm.
gives me that variety. You know,
Yeah.
one of the local high schools had asked me if I wanted to come back to teach English full time. I was like, no, 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 thank you. No, no.
So are you still doing the summer camps every summer, or has that evolved into other things?
Now, last summer was the was the summer that I totally took a break. What did I do? I wrote the entire summer. Um, what I'm really hoping to do this summer is really get the editing and the publishing up and going. I really want to do that full time. There's so many people who say they want to write a book, but they don't know where to start.
Mhm.
There's so many people who, they put all their eggs in one basket and decided to go to Vanity Press, and then they find out thousands of dollars later that they don't have what they thought they wanted, you
Mm.
know?
Mhm.
So that's something I'm really hoping to do, to take, my experience of working with kids, as far as the English language,
Mhm.
and help other people develop their own stories and get them up and published.
Mhm. I think another area of kids that could definitely use your um, writing and is our juvenile children, who find themselves in those detention places and things that teaching them how to express themselves and write. Have you gone into that area, that realm, or thinking about it?
Well, it's funny that you asked that, Robin, because I was just talking to a woman at our church who is the head of the outreach ministry, and I had put together, well, she had asked me to put together a ministry proposal for teaching women who were living in halfway houses and trying to get back into, community with employment and things like that,
Mhm.
of teaching them the benefits of journaling, and eventually starting a nonprofit where anything that they, published, we could support them. And she said to
Yes.
me today, she said, we've got a lot of things going on, but I have not forgotten that. And we're eventually going to get around to it. So that is
That-
definitely something that, I'm looking forward to, of doing something like that. So yeah, that's kind of like in the works. I just kind of like,
Yeah.
okay. And I just said to her, well, when it happens, when you get all the kinks worked out, I'll be waiting.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I totally was thinking about um, people needing to be exposed to other ways to make money that they may not have ever thought, like that somebody would be interested in reading my story or
Mhm.
my stories, like Road Braddy. Do you have followers names, like, are they the Braddy Brats or
I always say it's bratty with two D's, but pronounce it like bratty, like
Braddy?
the bratty little. Think of bratty kid, like the
Yeah,
bratty
so
little kid. Yeah.
you gotta name your followers, like, what can we call them?
Well, I used to call my kids in my class, they would give me their graduation pictures,
Uh-huh.
and I had a big thing on my cabin, and I called it Miss B's babies.
Miss Bees.
Miss B's babies, and I put all the graduation pictures up there.
That's awesome. So a question was, have you ever collaborated with some type of musical artist or composer?
I can't sing a lick.
Well, these days, like, there are songs, I've heard songs where they put a portion of some ministers, like, sermon in there. And so somebody could put a portion of, like, one of your poems in there of you reading it. So let's speak that.
Well, now, one of the plays that I did do a few years ago, I did have a young lady who took something I wrote, and actually, it was a poem. So some of the poetry that I have written has been
Mhm.
in some of my plays. Yeah, but I mean, it fit the character. It was a play about multiple things happening at a high school. It was a period of time when there were a lot of school shootings, and I wanted to give voice to that. So back then, and speaking of trends, this was when the kids were saying, "Oh snap!" I
Mhm.
don't know if you do you remember that? "Oh
Mhm.
snap!"
I do. Yeah.
Well, I did a play called "Oh snap! This is for real."
Oh, that's good.
And in that play was it all centered around a high school. It's centered around teen suicide, school shootings, and just the stuff that happens in schools. I was working with a 501 at the time who they were helping me get funded.
Mhm.
So part of the way they were writing the grants, the plays had to do with something that was happening in our society. So I've done plays that focused on the opioid, what do you call it?
Addiction.
Yeah, the opioid addiction, teen suicide, uh, school shootings. So they were always these heavy topics.
Mhm.
There's a woman in our church. We were together for years doing our church drama. We would do a lot of the drama. She is hysterical. She would write these things that were so funny. And then I
Mm.
realized that's not a gift I have. Everything usually what I I write is very heavy.
Yes.
It's like these world concerns, and
Yeah.
I'm not I it's very hard for me to write something that's funny, but there's some people who are gifted in
Mhm.
writing, comedic type material. So it's not me. There are always
Mhm.
these deep and heavy topics.
Yeah. And yeah. So, well, you write about the heavy stuff, but do you write on the other end of the scope, like super
Um,
sweet,
well, yeah,
sappy?
well, I think my historical romance,
It's
even though it's coming from the 50s and the 60s, it's a
Mhm.
period of time where African Americans were really struggling.
Mhm.
The story itself, it came from really watching my parents. You know how when you're little and you see your parents who are very affectionate with each other and you're like, don't do that." Like
Mhm.
you're
So
that and
embarrassing.
that's how my parents were. They were very romantic and very much in love with each other. And so many of the stories that I wrote centered around watching them as a child. My mother loved Billie Holiday. That was the era of music that I grew up in. It was
Mhm.
always
Mhm.
played in my house. My
Mhm.
father was loved blues. He worked in a steel mill and my mother was a barmaid, and that's how they met each other. And those are the stories that, when they started telling me these stories, and I didn't think about it as a child, I just thought, "Oh, that's nice." And then when I got to be older, those stories started to just resonate with me. And then that's when I started to develop them into novellas.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, of your biggest influences, not like artists and fellow writers, but family. It sounds like family for sure, and where you
Mhm.
lived. But what is? Did you get one of your main stories or characters from? Like, has everybody in your family been in one of your stories?
No, not everybody, but they sometimes they are created from my imagination. Like the
Mhm.
new stories, I don't like they're bits and pieces of things I've seen, but they're pretty
Okay.
much general. Like the town. Oh,
Mhm.
this whole entire story takes place in an imaginary little town called Willow Valley. I don't know, like there's a Willow Valley out there somewhere, but
Mhm.
in my imagination, it's just Willow Valley. It's not Willow
Mhm.
Valley, PA. It's not Willow Valley, Massachusetts. It's just Willow Valley.
Mhm.
So there are times where the story is totally made up in my imagination, but the majority of times that I write, it stems from somebody I know. Like just bits and pieces of someone
Mhm.
that I know. Like my father had a fishing buddy, and he's long gone. He was a
Mhm.
sweet man, but he used to bring me comic books.
Mm.
Um,
Was sweet.
and his name was Mr. Bob. And she was a short, tiny little guy. He was probably, and I'm like 5'3". He was about 5'3".
Oh.
He had big, big gray eyes. And the one thing I remembered about Mr. Bob was that he, if he were still alive, him and I would probably be about the same height, because I think I might have been like 9 or 10. And his comment was me like, "You gonna soon be taller than me, little miss." And he would always say that to me, and thinking about that aspect of Mr. Bob, that he
Mhm.
was a small man in stature.
Mhm.
there's going to be a character along the way who will be somebody who's small, and then everybody keeps making comments because this person is short. So that one aspect of that one a real life character will probably be in a story. Like my mother was married 3 times. A lot of her a lot of the things that she shared with me, she was married to a compulsive gambler. Parts of his story are in several stories. So it's always related to somebody, that I didn't personally know, but they were told to me. So they're little bits and pieces. So that's kind of how I develop a character.
That's so interesting. All right. Looks like we have one more break coming up.
I'm enjoying the breaks.
No, I know they're really cool. It's really good artists.
It's so awesome how blessings be falling down. Can't even fathom, 'cause it's way too many to count. Don't mind me, I'm out here, and him with all these fears, and him with all my tears, and him restore them years. That favor dripping all of me, goodness and mercy all of me. That faith be moving all of me, them fruit be working. Yeah, yeah. I know the gift that keeps giving, just when I be least expecting. The blessings come and overtake me. He'll leave the 100 for me. He's taking real good care of me, with stacks and stacks and stacks of blessings. How blessings be falling down, down. I can't even fathom, 'cause it's way too many to count. It's so awesome how blessings be falling down, down. Can't even fathom, 'cause it's way too many to count. I be so busy, steady, I'm building, focused on drilling the ground, yeah, I'm tilling. He can say this, she can say that, but no matter the challenge, just know I'm not quitting, don't care how I'm feeling. Yahweh is my compass, I follow his lead. He shine his face on me so bright, I be beaming. I'm planted and rooted so deep in this garden, the harvest he reaping. Walking in your blessing, worried about nothing. I know you got me, 'cause you're my testimony. I'm sitting at the table that you prepared for me, eating real good, now my enemies gotta watch me. Losing 5 shots, hit the ground. Wait a minute, let me fix my crown. Now it's all good, still stable, yeah. God is so able, and I'm forever grateful. I know the gift that keeps giving, just when I be least expecting. The blessings come and overtake me. He'll leave the 100 for me. He's taking real good care of me, with stacks and stacks and stacks of blessings. It's so awesome how blessings be falling down, down. I can't even fathom, 'cause it's way too many to count. It's so awesome how blessings be falling down, down. Can't even fathom, 'cause it's way too many to count.
Hey, yo, that's my song. That's my song. That's my ex. She stole my song.
Dang, I would never let my girl clown me like that. So what are you gonna do about it?
I'm taking you home. I'm gonna crash this performance.
Here I am still punching the clock, waiting for the day that I'm touching the top, sitting on the throne, but I keep
You know, I didn't have a lot of friends growing up when I was just a kid either.
the weight of the world on my shoulders. I keep on
We passed this house like 3 times already.
Boo, I'm sorry I wasn't ready to go home, and you seem really cool.
Oh, you sorry? Sometimes you just need one.
You know what you should do? You should just write another song.
For all my people at the barbecues, backyard parties. It's your boy Tony D on the radio. You know what time it is. Let's go.
It's a party tonight. Vibing with my people, bring the party to life.
Hello, everyone. This is Pat Nash of Pat Nash Talks, where we have the conversations that create real relationships. I'm here every single Sunday, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern, and you can find us right here on Level Up Nation. See you then.
Get inspired with real talk that takes you higher. Like me, Rebecca Outlaw of Tickle Mites LLC. Level Up, Sundays from 3 to 5 p.m. Ordinary people with extraordinary stories.
Hey, this is Shantia Warren of Hams Farm and Assurance Wellness. Keep it locked right here as we level up, giving a voice to the unvoiced with real talk that takes you higher. Ordinary people with extraordinary stories.
Hey, this is Roe Braddy of Roe Rights for You. Keep it locked right here as we level up, giving a voice to the unvoiced with real talk that takes you higher. Ordinary people with extraordinary stories.
Hey, and we're back. So awesome. I have loved getting to know you and your heart for your people, what you pour into them. Man, it's a lifetime. And do you see yourself stopping anytime soon?
No, I mean, as long as I have good health, I'm really enjoying the things that I get to do. I don't know. I think I just have longevity in the bones. I think about my mother. I had Aunt Lucille, and she was 92 when she stopped driving.
Wow.
And I remember she had my Uncle Clarence's old Cadillac, and she had a fender bender. And I went to Chicago, and I literally said, "Aunt Lucille, you're gonna have to give over the keys." And she was like, "I'm fine. I can still drive." So I think I've inherited her bones. Be like my Aunt Lucille.
I think so too. You definitely have a natural curiosity, and that seems to be a good driving force for what you do with your outlet, the way you share. And I just can't even imagine your brain of how you take in things and then how it comes out as a poem or a story or a play.
Well, it was funny you say that because I was sitting at church. I had to be there by 8 this morning to teach class, like I shared before. And afterwards, service didn't we usually get done with the class around 9:30. So I had this extra time. So I'm sitting there talking to another woman, and we were talking about winter boots and tights. And we got into this whole conversation about not being able to find tights with feet in them. And it took me down this path of products that we used to rely on and that we always use that we no longer see in existence because they've outgrown their time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it did, and it was like, and I started telling her about this freezer that it was a cold spot freezer, and I think my brother-in-law still has it, but it was a freezer that my mother had when I was a child. I'm in my 60s, and she's in this freezer still, as far as I know, is still working.
Wow.
But it was funny. We started off talking about winter boots, and we ended up talking about this cold spot freezer. Like it started off talking about they don't make things the way they used to.
Right. They
And then,
don't.
then another woman came along, and then we got into this whole thing about, like the generational differences and about how they make things like the iPhone, for instance. You keep it for a certain period of time, and then it starts to act wacky because they want you to
Yep.
buy the updated one. And we
Yes.
got into this like conversation about this, and it's like my brain can go from, I might be asking you about I don't know, the pound cake that you're making, and the next thing I'll be talking about was like, the problem I'm having with my, I don't know, tire or car or something. It just
Mhm.
like I think women are really good at that. I think they're really good at multitasking in conversations
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
do it I do it all the time, and I think it's just the way our brains work. We multitask in conversations.
Yeah, I think we're good at
Mhm.
connecting things, that, especially guys maybe listening would not understand how we got from A to Z, but, we're following
Mhm.
along. It was like, yeah, it was a natural progression. And so
Yeah.
with your writing, how do you decide, like, what is it just the story? Is it a collection? What makes you kinda draw that line or decide kinda how you're gonna put out what's on your heart or on your mind?
Like Short Story Maven, it will probably be a collection. And that's my problem. I feel like I'm gonna run out of life before I run out of story. I have already had a notebook now with 3 stories in it for the next collection of short stories. These are a lot lighter, but they still deal with life's issues. So it all depends on whether a story comes to me that will fit in with what I'm writing.
Mhm.
Um, the next really big project I'm writing is probably going to be a full novel. I Parts of this novel are already published. The prologue of it is already published. I've
Mm.
done several anthologies with other authors. Um, I published this as a short story, but then the short story is picking up from where that publication left off, and it will be a full novel. Um, and because of the time period, there's no way I could make this a short story. You can't write about the 1900s where you had the war occurring, you had the Spanish flu occurring, you had the end of Black vaudeville occurring. You had all these massive things occurring, so it has
Mhm.
to be its own separate entity when I write the story.
That makes sense. I was literally gonna ask you, do you have things that you haven't published yet, but you're like, "I literally have 3 stories already." So I would
Well,
imagine you
I
have way
do.
more than that, right?
Yeah, I have a 58K novel sitting on my computer that I have never done anything with. I wrote it, like I said, during COVID when I was watching everything that was happening with George
Mhm.
Floyd. It's about police brutality.
Mhm.
And I have our little writing group that we have really supported each other through. We met each other online during COVID, but we became really good friends. And either we're I think all of us except maybe 2 of them are teachers. So we became heavily involved with reading. We get together and we reread so many books. We also write together, and then we pray together, and we just talk. I mean, we can talk about like any subject.
Mhm.
But when we came together, we realized the one thing that we had in common was this passion for what was happening around us.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I have a friend who like you does podcast. I have another friend who promotes indie authors. uh, I have a friend who she writes romance. She started writing a book about the atrocities of the Klan. She has not yet finished this book. It's going to be an
Mm.
amazing book whenever she
Mhm.
finishes it. So surrounding yourself with other people that have sort of like mind is
Mhm.
also something that I really, really enjoy doing because we kind of like hit off of each other. We can have these conversations. Like one of the stories that I was working on, Short Story Maven, I started talking to one of my friends, and we just started generating, she gave me ideas, she just if I had a hole in the plot, I'd say, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And we would do the same thing for each other's stories.
That's
So,
beautiful. And that's
yeah.
it's needed. So you're not just this lone island, but it's a collaborative of spurring on and interjecting. And sometimes you just need that little
Mhm.
something, and then your mind just goes off, and it's like, I needed that one little piece. And so that's so exciting. Is there an area that you have yet to kind of go into with your talents, your writing or theater, that you're looking to collaborate with something or someone outside of what you've normally done?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like, like what I'm doing, because there's so many different branches of it, I don't
Mhm.
think I could really fit in anything else. Like I'm a board member for Sankofa Theater. It's the African American theater that's here in Harrisburg. I'm a board member for the Writers Workshop, and that's a platform for other writers. I do a variety of community things. Like I said, I edit a local newspaper. So I can't really fit in anything. These are the things that I enjoy doing,
Mhm.
so I don't think, like somebody has asked me if they're working on a play and they want me to direct it. And I want to, but there's a part of me that says, that's a big commitment.
Yeah, you're
So
stretched.
yeah, something else I would have to, like, and I'm facilitating a class at my church. I mean, it'll be over in November,
Mhm.
but it's not massive like
Mhm.
directing a play is.
Yeah.
I want to do this so badly because I love
Mm.
theater, but
Mhm.
something else like in this, editing this newspaper takes a lot of my time, because not only do I edit, but usually I come up with a lot of the stories. I also find new writers. I also go
Mhm.
talk to people in the community. Sometimes I'm doing videos, and I'm like, right now that's so all consuming. And I feel like it's very important, because like I said, it's a support. It's a place where people can go, when there's a need. So
Mhm.
I don't know, I'm not sure.
Okay. So are you doing any writer showcases for new talent, new artists, anything like that?
I am always, like looking for somebody who enjoys writing, especially the new writer. There is a program, part of the Writers Workshop, where once a month, this Writers Workshop has been going on now for the last 47 years. It's existed
Wow.
here in Harrisburg. The founder is one of a local pastor, Reverend Nathaniel Gadsden. He's an amazing guy. At one point, he was the poet laureate here in Harrisburg. He started this program, like I said, like 47 years ago, and it's an amazing platform. And first, before COVID, we were meeting in person. We're still meeting in person. We just changed the location, but it's also
Mhm.
live on Zoom and live on Facebook every Friday. He's amazing, because even if nobody shows up, he is still there. And he said that's what sustained him, was always showing up. And I
Wow.
think in order to always show up, you if you stretch yourself too thin, you can't always show up.
True.
So
That's true.
I've learned, even though I've got all these little boxes, I
Mhm.
show up consistently for the boxes that I've decided to put myself in.
Mhm.
So I think that's the thing, like stretching yourself out to a point, a place where it's new for you. And for me, anytime I try something new, I want to be good at it. So I'm
Yes.
gonna devote time to it. So if I devote a lot of time to something new, these things that I've been doing, these things that
Yeah.
I've sort of, not that I perfected anything, but
Mhm.
the things that I've been doing for a while and I put my voice to, I feel like they would suffer. Like I love theater. I love being the editor in chief of this magazine, and I love writing, and I love supporting other writers. But that's four things right there. And
Mhm.
I love the classes I teach at church. That's 5 things right there. So if I add another box to those 5 things, something in these 5 boxes is not going to do as well.
And I think we can all take note of that right there and reevaluate all that we are doing. So, what advice would you give an inspiring writer who want to use their voice for a social impact?
Think about how people in the past have had a voice in something in the past. Um, Are you familiar with Sonia Sanchez?
Mm-hmm.
She's one of my very favorite poets, and I think she was just revolutionary to giving voice to so many things she was passionate about. Again, it's about knowing what you know, being consistent in what you know, and sticking with it, even though sometimes you feel like it's not going anywhere.
Mm.
And the reason why I brought up Sonia Sanchez is that she was writing things about a time period where the African American community was so heavily stuck in,
Mm.
civil rights movement,
Mhm.
racism, segregation. And there were periods of time where it didn't seem like we were moving forward in that.
Mhm.
And she continued to write about these things. She continued to give voice to it. And we're still giving voice to some of those same things, but it's the consistency. Think of all those writers who were writing about that time period. It's the consistency. Even when you don't think you're moving, just be consistent. Like
Yeah.
my friend Reverend Gaston.
Right.
There are times when it's only the 2 of us that are on his program, and
Wow.
we have an amazing time. And he's been he was the poet laureate here, but
Mhm.
it's that consistency that kept him going. And he's 75 years old, and he's so dynamic. He has but it is consistent, and that's where I feel like, for me, it's not creating a new box. It's being consistent in the boxes that I got. A lot of boxes going on,
Right. Yes,
but
you do.
it's staying in those 5 boxes and adding more to the box I've already had before I come up with a new box, or passing that box on to somebody else.
Mhm.
It's not necessarily always saying, "Oh, I'm gonna," and I am one for saying, "Oh, I want to try this." But I think at my age, I've realized that there's only so much, because some days Rose just tired.
Right. Literally.
So I'm happy with the boxes I have. And I
Mhm.
really, really do have to thank my husband, because he's given me the freedom to be creative in these boxes that I love, because I retired early. And ever since I've retired, I've had the freedom to put energy into these boxes, and to always keep these boxes going, because it's
Mhm.
just, he's been able to give me the freedom to be able to do that. So I thank you, Theo. Um, but that's what I would say to any new writer. When you start to feel like nobody's reading any of this,
Mhm.
is it is it really making a difference what I'm writing? Is my voice really counting? It is. It does count. Just keep writing, just keep going, be consistent. Whatever it is you're doing, whether it's writing, whether it's theater, whatever it is that you're putting your creativity to,
Mhm.
be consistent, keep going, because there is a voice out there, and there are ears out there that are listening to you.
Okay. Remind us of your newest, most recent collection.
Oh, I'll show it to you.
Come
It's
on.
this.
Look at that.
It's a thin little book this time, so it's quick reading. Um, and it's funny because my name does not appear on this book. There's
Hmm.
no Roe Braddy here. And I did that on purpose. It's Short Story Maven Presents. This is the second in the collection.
Mhm.
And what I'm really doing this for is all my other stuff, like this new novel that was not even new. The second half of this novel that I'm working on, I know it's probably going to be somewhere between 50 or 60K. And then my novellas, and then my poetry. I always feel like, I have like a following. I have a small following. I want to be able to give them something for following me. So I did
Mhm.
this as a reader's magnet. So I do a lot of vending in person, and that's pretty much where I sell the majority of my books. Because I always say you are the voice, you are the best promotional for whatever it is you're doing.
Exactly.
I was talking to a young lady who wants to start writing, and I told her, I said, if you go as a vendor, don't sit behind your table waiting for somebody to come and talk to you. I
Mhm.
said, get up and stand in front of your table and start to talk to people, and they will gravitate over to you. Because I just had a book signing on this book, and I was surprised. There were two older gentlemen that came into the bookstore, and I was surprised because the one was dressed all in black and he was wearing a hat, and I was wearing a hat that day.
Okay.
And I said to him, "I like your hat." And he said, "I like yours too." And it generated a conversation. But to make a long story short, both of them bought my book. And I was surprised because they were not my target audience.
Mhm.
But because it was I connected with them on
Yes.
just one thing, the hat,
But you brought them in.
yeah.
And hold the
So
book up again so we can get the name. What was
yeah. Short Story Maven presents a collection of short, eerie stories.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
what's next? What do you have coming up next? Is that the novel or is that
Yes. I guess it was about 2 years ago. There were 9 authors and myself got together and we did an anthology. It's called It's All Love. We
Mhm.
did this anthology for college students. So all the proceeds that are made from this book go to a college fund.
Wow.
Um, I wrote a short it's the prologue to the novel that I'm getting ready to finish. It's called, gosh, what is it called? It drew a blank. Basil's Ragtime Blues, where you meet the characters that will be in the story Freed Love. And this story takes place in the 1900s. It's about a young love where these two individuals, Basil and Tilly May, are you familiar with Storyville
Mhm.
in Louisiana? There was a portion of Louisiana in New Orleans that was the red light district for prostitution.
Okay.
And there was an Ottoman, what do you call it? I can't think of his name right now, but he was a politician who decided what he was going to do was structure off a part of Storyville where prostitution would remain legal. And it
Wow.
was called Storyville.
Hmm.
So it's about these two individuals who were born in houses of prostitution. They were raised there, and then eventually they both have these amazing gifts and talents. Basil wants to be a ragtime piano player. He goes off to Memphis, and Memphis was the home of Black vaudeville. Tilly May has this amazing voice. She was singing at the Gussie Up, and the Gussie Up is a jute joint, and she gets found there. So they both end up going off to Memphis, and Memphis was the home of Black vaudeville. So they end up as he's playing the piano and she's singing, and they're just doing their thing. And then the war breaks out. He gets drafted, goes off to war, and then the rest is a love story. But to do all that research about what was happening in the 1900s, what was the essence of Black vaudeville?
Yes.
Yeah, I love that kind of history. I can go down a rabbit hole when it comes to history. So that's my next biggest project. So I'll be working when it's snowing outside. I will be working on it's called Freed Love.
Freed love.
Freed
That
Love.
sounds awesome though. If readers could take one message away from your work, from Roe Braddy, what would that be?
Um History repeats itself. Like I said, I have a love for history. Is to remember that without our past, we can't sow into the future because everything that happened in the past makes us who we are. There's never a mistake. You know,
Mm.
the
Mhm.
low parts of our life were meant for something good. You know, we always assume like, "Oh my God, how am I ever gonna get through this?" When you
Right.
get through it, you're a better person. You know, so for me, going back and looking at those hard times in other people's lives, like, you know, the Black migration, that was not an easy time for those people living in the South and living in Jim Crow times and then uh, getting themselves to the North. That was not an easy time.
Mhm.
So, as anybody inspiring or reading anything I'm writing, is that I want you to remember that those hard times are what makes us. Is what makes us the people that we are. You know, if everything was good and happy, we would
Mhm.
have nothing to learn from.
That's true. That's true. So, what would you say to someone who maybe had never read any of your works, none of your poetry, none of your short stories, nothing, not, and then what would be something you think could ease them into your heart of, your passion? What would you refer someone to, like, take it, just dip their
Oh.
toe into, what you do?
Oh, well, see, like I said, I write in multiple genres. But I think what I'm really most passionate, the things that I have absolutely loved writing is historical romance.
Mhm.
You know, I think it's because I dig deep into those stories.
Okay.
I
Mm.
spend a lot of time with those characters, and if you read Scarred, Surrendered, and Waiting, those characters are essence of people that I've either been told stories about or people I've met as a young child, a young girl.
Mhm.
The main characters, Nezzy and Matthias. My father's name was Matthias, and my mother's name was
Oh.
Inez, but he never called her Inez. He always called her Nezzy. And
Mm.
she was the matriarch of our neighborhood. Everybody called her Mom Nezzy.
That's awesome.
Uh, so I think those would be the stories that I would want somebody to read because they are sort of the legacy that I left for my children to get to know their grandparents.
Mhm.
And it's what my parents left for me, those stories. They really were living history books. If you lived through the great Exodus, you had history.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
had history.
Yeah. So, where can someone see you locally? I know you do just stay a lot locally. Where would be the next place someone could, like, come out and meet you or see you?
Oh, I'm always at a bookstore somewhere. I was at a little bookstore, the Cupboard Makers bookstore, in Enola. Uh, when was I there? About 2 weekends ago. But I do a lot of vending in bookstores. I can't tell you where I'm gonna be next. The next thing I
Mm.
am doing will probably be in January. In January, I will be at the Salvation Army. They have a book club,
Mm.
and that's with the Silver Sneakers seniors. And I've
Oh.
I've done that for a few years, and they were reading Waiting. So this year I'm gonna put a twist in it for them, and they'll be doing this book. And usually it's a book discussion. So like if you are out there and you have a book club, and you'd like some author to come, I would love to come and talk about anything I've written in book clubs.
Oh, that is amazing. You guys better take her up on that offer and have her join you and just enhance you. I just can't imagine that time with you. I bet people want to stay with you so long when you come and spend time and share
Well, I
your
hope
gift.
I didn't go down too many rabbit holes. Like I start a story and it just could take you places.
Yeah, but
I just
that's
try to
part
stay
of,
focused on your question.
yeah, no, but that's part of who you are, right? And that's how you write. And then where are the places readers and supporters can connect with you and follow your work on social media?
Oh, I try not to go too many places. I am on Facebook. I'm on IG. I think I spend more time on IG. So if they follow Short Story Maven, or they follow Roe the Literary, or the Literary One for You on Facebook. Yeah. So if you just look up Roe Braddy, I'm out there.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And I know, what are some of the things that you're looking to address, like before you put out your novel? Because that's a lot of stuff and that's a lot of background. And I know you just put this out, but anything else like shorter that you're gonna address something socially that you've maybe recently touched you, or?
Yeah, the probably the next series for Short Story Maven will have to do with the mental health issue of young people. Yeah, there's just things that I see mental health wise, and I think about the stigma, especially in the African American community when it comes to mental health.
Yep.
But so many of our young teenagers are struggling with mental health.
Yeah, and they don't
So,
know, and it's yeah.
yeah, I have a story that I'm always carrying a notebook. I have this huge bag that I carry, and there's like 3 or 4 notebooks in there, and I'm always writing a story. But I've already started a new series, and so far I've got 3. So I like to do them because, like I said, they are short reads.
Mhm.
It probably will take you, maybe if you're a fast reader like I am, maybe an hour.
Okay.
So I like putting out, things that people that are very accessible, they don't cost a lot, and they're a quick read. But I like to discuss them because I think, even though they're not a lot of pages, I put a lot of in-depth thinking into them. So
Mhm.
this next one is going to be about mental health. Um, I also have the story about grief with teenagers or young
Mm.
people, and how grief, the loss of a loved one affects them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the next series of short stories. But like I said, I probably will focus on the novel. And I just did this as a reader's magnet. And I really did want to get on podcast to talk about the social issues, that why I did it. So I'm
Mhm.
looking to be able to get on a lot more, podcasts, productions,
Mhm.
book clubs to talk about these social issues.
Yeah, and we need it. We need to talk about it. We need to talk about it in our communities, and people need to know that it's okay, but ways to
Mhm.
deal with it, ways to diagnose it. You're not just a bad kid, or you're not just mean all the
Mhm.
time. It's needed. Someone literally just shared with me today, 1 in 4 people are diagnosed with depression. And we gotta think
Mhm.
people, not just grown-ups, right? It's kids,
Mhm. Mhm.
those children that you came in contact with, that you told them to journal. Like, that's beautiful. And so
Mhm.
we gotta call we need like Braddy lights or Braddyites, or people that follow you, because we need more of you who are sharing
Oh,
in the
thank you.
community, pulling things out, giving us something to talk about and think about. So I love that.
Well, I mean, it is. It's the stuff that I enjoy doing.
Hmm.
I always say, your time on planet Earth is it's like that. So when I die, I just want to die empty. I want to use whatever gifts and talents that I have, whatever time I have, um, doing the stuff I love to do. Hopefully, it's benefiting somebody else,
Hmm.
whether it's reading a story to a child, whether it's doing theater, or writing a story, or reciting a play, or producing a play, or reciting a poem. I hope it benefits somebody else, or helping somebody write a book and get their story out into the world.
Hmm. Hmm. Yep. You're sounding an alarm, but you're also making it a conversation, right? And you're making it enlightening. and you're making it accessible. But then you're also showing people how you can do this too. You can, this can be therapeutic. It's not just, hey, this is an issue. You're taking it further than that. So I love what you do. I love what you're pouring out. And you are using your gifting and talents in a way in every area I think you could possibly go without being stretched anymore. And we can all take a note of that and be bratty like you. So definitely enjoyed getting to know you. I hope people learn a side of you, learn of you for the first time, or learn how much more you do than whatever they've just read, and have a passion to go after, but also to imitate you, to give back, to speak about what's around them, to open their eyes and say something and do something like you. You're imitatable.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome. So this has been super exciting. And I hope people hold your book up again. You need this. You got to get it. You got to read it. You got to share it and start your first book club with.
Yeah.
How about that?
I'm available.
I love it. I love it. And, how does one start a book club?
I had a book club not too long ago. They're doing a lot of book clubs, like Facebook Live does a lot of book clubs.
Yeah.
There's a friend of mine, she does a monthly book club. You just gather, a group of women, like the one that I'm going to do in January. It's through the senior citizen, it's the Salvation Army here. And what they do is they usually buy 25 to 30 copies of my book. They have the women who come to the center all the time. They do various activities. They're going on trips. They do activities there at the center, and they have this book club. But I know there's a lot of book clubs that start virtually, and COVID started a lot of book clubs virtually. So a lot of, you read the book and then you meet online and then you discuss the book. I had gone to the RSJ conference. I guess I've gone like maybe 3 times. Well, I won 6 literary awards through the RSJ. It's the Diverse Readers and Writers. What is it? Yeah, it's the Emma Awards, but they started off as a rom-com conference, and then they turned into an LLC where they were awarding literary awards for diverse writers in romance. They also have a book club. In this book club, it's over country, several different cities.
Wow.
They do a very large book club. I'm thinking they've got a couple. I don't know how many members, and it's hard to get on that book club because I know the chairperson. I said to her, I said, "Well, I've got a new release coming out. I want to get on your list." And she says, "Well, we're booked all the way up until I think I'm going to talk to her again, but I think I won't be able to get on her list until the summertime, like next August." That's how far in advance that they're doing their books. So sometimes, it's hard to get book clubs because they pick their books so far out in advance.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, there you go, people. We have spoken to Miss Braddy. She's ultra talented. You are a Emma Award winner. You're a poet, short story, novel. You do writing camps. You do theater. We've had an opportunity to sit with you, your heart and your passions, about writing, about what's going on around you. I mean, that in itself is therapeutic for young people if they just write about what's going on in their lives and what's around them. Like you said, whether nobody reads it or not, or whether they think nobody would. Who knows? I mean, somebody could write about their lives to you and show it to you. You go, wow, this is fantastic. So I think just take lessons, start writing, join a book club, find ways to see what your gifting and talent is. You never know, but take an interest. Check out our friend here, Roe Braddy. Start a book club with her books, follow her, and make her part of your new lifestyle, especially for the new year, and see when she invite her to your book club. Start it and invite her. It was so good getting to know you.
You too. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're super interesting.
This gonna be a fun song. Create in me a clean heart and renew the right spirit within me. Create in me a clean heart and renew the right spirit within me. Purge me, Lord, and I shall be clean. Wash me, oh God, and I'll be whiter than
the barbecues, backyard parties. It's your boy Tony D on the radio. You know what time it is. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Pat Nash, and I want to speak to you a little bit about dreams, about hope, about maybe giving up or wondering why you haven't moved forward. Someone asked me, how did you get here to be a relationship coach? It actually came out of a need for myself and what I observed looking around after I asked myself a couple of questions. Why was I not doing the things that I wanted to do? Why had I gone through divorce? I realized I was not the only one. You see, there's a lot of us who stopped hoping, who stopped dreaming, who stopped chasing our dreams or going after our dreams because we don't have to chase anything. When we look internally and figure out what it is that's holding us back, the sky's the limit, and you don't have to chase anything. You attract it.